Hi, I'm Jake Schwartz, and here's how I went from going lost and lonely in the world of work in my early 20s to starting and building a global education company. I don't think I knew exactly what I wanted to do when I went to college, or even when I left college, and it was pretty scary. I was very stressed out. I talk a lot about that period, feeling very lost and really lonely. I got to business school and looked around and said, why is this taking 2 years? Why does this have to cost this much money? And I kind of thought that there might be a way to sort of shorten that path, sort of disrupt the middleman. In a lot of ways, that was a big part of the inspiration for what eventually became General Assembly. In many ways, we did everything you weren't supposed to do, right? I mean, first off, this was a project I don't think any of us thought was going to be an ongoing 10-year venture-backed startup that would end up getting sold to a multinational corporation. This was a project that just made sense on the ground, and we thought people needed it. These opportunities appear, and you gotta sort of know when they're appearing, where you've kind of just, for whatever reason, whether you're in the right place at the right time, or you identified like a real need or something like that, that's where the magic is. You know, I would say another big point for us was when we decided to raise venture capital. It was a big decision, and we were really split on whether or not we should raise venture capital. You're like a train going down the track at that point, and it's very hard to get off that track. And all the time that I meet with young entrepreneurs who are like, well, I'm gonna raise this round, but I may not raise another round. And there are so few entrepreneurs who are able to do that once you do that, because now the money is real, you have an investor at the table, you start to lose control of the story you wanna tell. And that's okay, because in some ways, it's the collaboration and that tension that creates really great outcomes. But it was something that we were, I think, very thoughtful about, and I encourage everyone else to be that thoughtful about, because it doesn't come without a cost. One of my favorite stories was one of the times I remember coming in the morning and saying, how did the class go last night? And they said, well, it was fine, but then they all went home early because the projector stopped working. And I said, wait, we can't just have people going home because nobody could figure out how to work a projector. And so that was the origination of a model where we said, why don't we staff each class with an individual? And let's make sure that the instructor has everything they need, the students have everything they need. And that became a core part of our model here at GA. And it allowed us to ensure that everyone who comes to our courses has a good experience. We didn't know what we were doing, but we sort of thought from first principles. And that's what I would really give as advice is, think about it not from, oh, what does the industry do, or what are best practices, but what makes sense. The real task of building like a company that lasts and sustains itself is a lot about things like, who do you hire? How do you hire? How do you build your team? How do you run that team? What metrics are you going to track with that team to make sure everything's going well when you're so big that you can't actually go across the table and say, hey, how are things going? A lot of it is taking that original thing that was working and just continuing to build on it. But what we have to do is now figure out how to do that with 500 people all around the world, right? With different ideas of what success looks like and what GA is and what we're doing for customers, and trying to make that as successful as it can be. It really becomes the art in building the right systems and building a true organization that can actually handle complexity and solve problems in real time.